Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Two Fat Guys Talking Flowers, where we're always going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly about flowers. I'm Fern. We got Joel on the ones and twos. We got Ryan on Zoom today. We got Mike up in Jeff Fresh North Country. Mimi, we had to change a letter in her name, and now Jimmy the Tulip is on today. And our one-of-a-kind, hardworking, badass guests are none other than Ralph Giordano, owner of Giordano's, AIFD, CFD, FSMD, FPCF, CEJ, VP of Florida State Florist Association, and treasurer for AIFD. Holy shit, Ralph. That's a lot going on, man.
I think you left out XYZ.
Yeah, he's only missing a couple letters there.
WN,
And we also have Kim, who is a team leader and store manager at Giordano's. Sorry.
So I got a couple of additional creds coming on. I achieved my PFCI and my AAF. So at SAF, I'll get those letters as well. Then I'm done. For a while.
Is there any more to go get?
There is one more he can get.
Yeah,
but he has to leave the country to get it.
It's the EMC, the European Master Certificate.
Oh wow! So that's all you're missing. What is?
That's all I'm missing.
If I may ask, what is FPCF?
It's Florida Professional Certified Florist.
Okay, and CEJ
is Certified Evaluator Judge.
Wow,
that's for competitions and.
Your printer must charge you extra for your business card.
Ralph is busy, man. We were just at a AIFD in Orlando together, and every time Ralph was like in an important meeting with a bunch of people in suits, and I was just like, man, this guy's always working.
Yep, I definitely try. This past symposium, me and my team, Core 4, planned the symposium, planned it for about 3 years. So it was great to finally see everything come to light, all the changes, minute changes that we made, but we wanted to bring a little something different to the old symposium that everybody knows.
It went great. It was a really great symposium. It was my first one.
Mine too. I had a great time.
I went to Chicago. That was my first symposium last year, and then this was my second, and it was great. I mean, everyone was smiling, having a good time, people working hard. There's a lot of people working day and night to get to get stuff done. I mean, it is amazing, and everybody's volunteering over there at AIFD, and how much work they put into all the volunteering. Even you. I mean, you're volunteering and you're now treasurer. Congratulations.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, it's all volunteer, like you said, the whole organization. Nobody gets paid to do anything. We all just dedicate our time for what we can and achieve what we can in that time frame that we're allotted.
That's good, man. Kudos to you. So we got to go back, Ralph. You got all these achievements you've achieved, but we got to go all the way back, man. Where did you come from? How did you get in the industry?
Sure. I'm a fourth generation designer. Ooh. My family has been in the industry for over 100 years. We started way back, like pushing flowers and fruits down the streets of Manhattan, and slowly started to migrate our way to the East Bronx. And we have a funeral home and flower shop right next to each other, and had that for many, many years, over 50 years.
Giordano's Pelham Bay, right?
That's it. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Giordano's Pelham Bay Florist and Ralph Giordano Funeral Home, right on Crosby Avenue in Pelham Bay in the Bronx. So
you
unfortunately,
used to go there, Dad?
What?
You used to go there?
I've delivered there a couple of times, yeah.
Yeah, very possible.
Also to Johnny Jerome. I used to deliver to Johnny Jerome and a few others. I mean,
there was a handful of shops in the Pelham Bay area, or at least there was.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, now the flower shop there has closed. It closed about 5 to 10 years ago, give or take. So I'm the last Giordano in the floral industry. Yeah, well, everyone grew up and moved on and retired, and no one was really there to continue the name. So we tried to sell it and have somebody run it and let them maintain the name. But it was right before COVID. Things weren't going well for them, and I think just the start of COVID just finished them off.
Yeah, that's sad.
Sorry to hear that.
That was a busy shop too. Busy shop with guaranteed funeral work.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is the funeral home still there?
Funeral home is still there. It is still operational. No plans of going anywhere soon.
So how young were you when you officially started working?
So the joke is that when I was born, it was the week of Mother's Day. It was right around the holiday. The joke is that I literally went straight from the hospital to the flower shop to see my family because that's where everyone was. And the joke is I never left. But in reality, I was probably somewhere between 8 and 10 when I started filling up water tubes and sweeping floors and making hand-tied bouquets at the flower shop in New York. And then started working about the age of 16 to 18, actually in the industry. I worked for a couple people here in South Florida until I was my early 20s when I helped to manage a shop in Jensen, Brandy's Flowers, a very large shop at that time. And when the opportunity came about to purchase this location, and back then it was called Flowers by Ann Smith. It was a real small shop, a one-person operation. And that's when I took it over. It was in 1985. No, 89. Yeah, 89.
But wait, what brought you from New York? What brought you from New York to Florida?
Like a lot of kids, parents got divorced back when I was about 5 years old. So, mom moved me to Florida. We actually lived in Miami and migrated up towards West Palm and then eventually ended up in St. Lucie County. So I would travel back and forth between summers and holidays and stuff. So as a kid, I'd go back and it'd be around the holiday time. So I'd help out around the shop, cutting greens, sweeping floors, cleaning flowers, whatever. And then during the summer, I would work there. I would say I was working, but I was really young. Child labor laws and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But we were big in funeral work, and back then everything was pretty much done on styrofoam. So we'd go through water tubes like crazy, and my job was to fill them up. So I'd sit down almost every day, fill up a box of water tubes.
That's wild.
Did you do them one by one, or did you do the bucket trick?
I would be as many as I can fit in my hand, and then I would dump my hand under, and then yeah. And back then, the ones my grandfather bought were they don't even think they make them anymore. The cap was actually attached to it, so you just used your thumb to press them down, as opposed to now you got to take a rubber cap and kind of wiggle it on. Yeah, so it went a lot faster back then as a kid because I could kind of double fist it and just snap them and drop them and just keep going.
Funny. That's funny. It's amazing how things have changed.
So Ralph, when you moved from New York to Florida and you started working in different shops, did you incorporate that New York hustle?
Absolutely.
Did that give you a leg up?
I believe it did. I worked for a lot of Northerners in the industry, so not that they expected it, but they understood it because they were hustlers themselves. So like at Brandy's, I worked pretty much 7 days a week when I was there as an assistant manager. And, the owner there was like, look, we're a multi-million-dollar shop and you've been helping to run it for the past 5 years. And there's this little shop that's doing a fraction of what we do. Matter of fact, we were doing $150,000 a year in total sales when I bought Flowers by Ann Smith. And just by running it, just by actually answering the calls and being open regular hours, I doubled my sales the first year, doubled them again the year after that.
Wow.
So I easily got, thank you. I easily rose my business within the first few years up to $1 million in sales, which is not too bad for a small little town. I mean, we're not a tiny, tiny town, but my market is about 500,000 people. Miami's maybe 3 to 5 million. Here is about 500,000.
No, yeah, man, that's pretty impressive because it isn't the biggest town in Florida. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Good stuff. So when did you start getting all these letters? What was first? What prompted you to go that route?
Wait, first I want to know how he met Jimmy the Tulip. I want to know about that relationship.
So I met Jimmy the Tulip in his other life when he was selling supplies. He was the guy that always screwed my order up every time I called Berkeley.
Oh,
Jimmy!
Jimmy.
No, not
but yeah,
me.
What did he
Jimmy
tell
was
you? What did he tell you? I have fat fingers. I'm sorry. And he slipped a couple extra in your order every time?
yeah, something like that. Yeah, or
I
he
blame one in
ordered
the
one
warehouse.
code number. Yeah. Ordered one code number and they were like a code number off and sent me the wrong item, but it happens. What are you gonna do? But yeah, so that's pretty much where I met Jimmy. And then when he came aboard with you guys, I kind of just followed him a little bit. And then when you guys opened up to this market, it made it wonderful for me to tap into and utilize your guys' services and use the amazing product and services that you guys offer.
Yeah, we did the show
Thank
here
you.
with Renee also, where we.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
A few years ago.
Was that for Florida
Was that a
State?
Teleflora?
Or was
I
it
think a
Teleflora?
That was one of my other jobs as the Teleflora South Florida president for education. We put on educational shows in the state of Florida. My district is basically I-4 South, so I have the entire bottom half of the state.
The good half.
Oh, wow.
Wait, are you still doing that?
I am still doing that. Yeah, we have a show planned in October at a little bit more north of me in the Melbourne area.
Wow, that's
All right.
awesome. Where do you find
Ralph's
the
gonna
time?
need it. He needs a chopper to get him around.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, fly over the traffic everywhere.
Yeah,
So-
it's definitely a delicate balance finding the time. It's it's great staff to be able to take care of things and run it smoothly when I'm not around. I empower my staff, hold them responsible, hold them accountable, and it typically works out better that way.
Wow. If you were that's like all those accreditations and all those things that you do is like being an Eagle Scout for flowers, right? You
Yeah.
have all the badges.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
definitely.
That's a big achievement. I don't think, is there anyone else who does as many things as you do that you know of?
Well, there's definitely a handful of us out there that are fully accredited, if you want to call it that, and dedicate a lot of our time back to the organizations that the industry that we love. My journey, basically, I had been an owner and been in the industry my whole life, and I had people tell me, "Oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to become AIFD. Oh, they're snooty. They're stuck up. All the nastiness about it." And then I finally had an employee that came on board that was looking to obtain his AIFD. During that process, he kind of nudged me several times, and we started taking classes together and started training together. And then before you know it, I was on my journey to my first accreditation, which was CFD, and then it led into AIFD. Actually, I got my FSMD first, started with the state, and then moved into CFD and AIFD. And thankfully, like I said, Rodrigo, you guys know him as Verlito. Verlito. He was, eager to get his accreditation, and he kind of guided me and helped drive me to doing it myself as well.
You got to have a degree just to remember all those letters.
Yeah. Yeah, the alphabet soup.
Big pot to stir it in.
Yep.
That's so when does Kim come into the mix?
So Kim came on board, about 10 years ago?
Yeah.
So Kim started out as pretty much most of my designers do. They pretty much start out at like holiday help, and then migrate into part-time and then eventually into full-time. Then we soon realized that we work very well together. Our brains work the same, but yet different. So it worked out great where I can dedicate my time to certain avenues and departments in the retail side and the planning of future events and holidays. And she can take the daily grind and the holiday prep and mass production off my hands.
She just got some accreditation as well.
She
did, yes.
I got 4 whole letters, FSMD.
Congratulations. That's hey, that's right where Ralph started. It's right where Ralph started. That could be the beginning of your journey.
Yep.
Maybe.
Do you have desire to go for any of the other ones?
I mean, considering AIFD, but for me, I'm happy where I'm at. Like, I'm pretty much gonna work for Ralph the day I die. So whether I have AIFD
you guys all heard
not,
that. Everyone heard that, right?
Verbal,
he's still
verbal
gonna
contract.
That's a verbal
So-
contract. That's right.
Once you're
It's
in,
recorded.
you can't get out.
Yeah.
And it's being recorded. That's
Yeah.
right.
Podcasts are final. Once you say it on a podcast, it lives
But
forever.
I am thinking about doing AIFD because I did go this year, and it was a lot of. I volunteered as an ambassador, so it was a whole lot of work. You know, my Apple Watch said I walk 6 to 9 miles a day for 8
Wow.
days, so that's a lot.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a whole lot to be learning. There's a whole lot of camaraderie, and there's a whole world out there that you know, just attending, you know, without having to do all the things that Ralph is doing, just being a part of it, learning from Ralph and learning from the people and you know, the other people, and being a part of the AIFD could, you know, be really helpful, I think. But I also believe it's kind of the same as supporting him, so I understand more what he's going through and how, you know, the progression of things. It's everything progresses.
So I was gonna ask if you had been, but again, I don't think people realize how much work goes on behind the scenes. And you're right, it's 8 days. 8 days.
It was a lot.
Work.
I mean, the symposium itself is only 4 days, unless you're testing or you're working, 4 or 5 days. I don't remember exactly, but you know, I was there for 9 days, and Ralph was there a couple days longer than me. So it's a lot.
Yeah.
I needed a whole 24 hours of sleep when I got back.
There's a lot of volunteers, huh? A lot of people come in and converge.
Yeah, they had a whole lot of volunteers. It takes a lot to put that on.
So
The back room where all the flowers were being designed at was bigger than the conference itself.
Yeah,
it was
crazy.
It was insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the candy in the candy store.
Right. What did they have this year that was new? Was it where you walked up and you selected what you wanted? You're like, hey, give me 8 of these, 4 of these. It was like hard goods, right?
For like in the hard goods department, in the workroom, everyone, all the designers have to put in a procurement list. We use Details software this year last year as well. So they used Details to put in their procurement list on what they were looking for fresh and what they were looking for hard goods. Each designer was assigned a sponsor, so they had to go to that sponsor's list of availability and work through those. And then they submit it to our hard goods procurement team and our fresh procurement team. And then they take it from there and source all of the items that are needed, work through any substitutions, and make sure that they have it all there at the appropriate time, along with everything else, so it can get hydrated and prepped and ready for the designers for when they get there.
Man, it's a ton of back end work, I'll tell you.
It is. We, if I remember correctly, we unloaded 6 18-wheelers, 2 of them full of hard goods, packed. What can you fit? You fit, is it 27? How many pallets can you fit in an 18-wheeler? Like 27, I believe.
26.
Is what it was.
Yeah, 26.
So we unpacked 2 of those full of hard goods, and 2 of those, possibly 3 of those, full of fresh.
Wow.
I saw a video of Renee Tucci using the pallet jack and loading the truck.
Yes, she was a tiger. She was going
Go
to
Renee.
town. Yes, go Renee.
Shout out to Renee for sending a really nice handwritten message after the show.
Yeah, she's really awesome, man. She's really good people. It was good working with her. She did a great job at procurement this year. She even unloaded the flowers herself. That's fucking awesome.
Yep, she did an amazing job. I have to give my hats off to all of our committees, all of their teams. They did an amazing job. You know, us 4, Core 4 planning it, you know, we could not have pulled off Symposium without the committees and their jobs, because it is definitely many hands make light work, and you definitely need a village. You need an army of people to pull off Symposium. And we were fortunate enough to have a great, great army this year.
Yeah.
So question, you said that you were planning for 3 years?
Just under 3 years, yes.
So is every symposium, it's not planned out, okay, next year's Palm Springs, so let's start planning it now, the symposium's over. No, you're doing a symposium while someone else is planning another symposium, and all that's going on in sync, right?
Absolutely, because if you think about it, at Symposium, every year, the next year's symposium is announced. So during our year of getting symposium finalized and getting it to everyone, the other team behind us is negotiating contracts, signing designers, figuring out space, figuring out work classes, so that way they can put their teaser video together all in advance prior to our actual symposium. And again, they've been planning it since Chicago. Like, we've been planning ours since Vegas, and they've been planning theirs since before Chicago. Like, they knew who the chairs were, who some of their committee members were going to be, and it slowly just snowballs from there and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
So can I get a sneak peek at who's 2026?
Yeah, you can actually. Oh, for 2026, we are back in Orlando, at the same hotel, and
Nice.
it will be Vonda Lefevre and Randy Wooten are the two chairs that'll be putting it on.
Those are two good people. Randy's a funny guy.
Yeah.
He works with Dolly.
Yes, definitely.
They did a nice presentation for Vonda at the show this year. They gave her an award. Her family came out, surprised her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that.
She got Vonda is one of those icons in our industry, so that does so much. So she deserves every award that they're willing to throw at her.
Yeah, she got that. It was a great surprise. We all knew, and then we were sworn to secrecy, and then we were not allowed to talk to Vonda day of. That's what we were told. Just don't talk to her. Just walk away.
Just walk away.
Oh man,
that's great. I love that. The whole family came out to support her.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, I mean, and she does so much work. You know, like, I know Ralph is working, but she does so much. Behind the scenes, like, she really is running around making sure that everything is on point. She was at the loading dock. She was at, where the hard goods were. She's everywhere. Every time there's a main stage coming on, she walks in, makes sure everything goes right, and then that's it. She's off to the next job, and it looks like she's like zooming by, like just like a hummingbird.
Yep.
Zooming here and then boom, zooming there, and she's everywhere. It's awesome. Go Vonda.
Yeah. The right people in the right position makes everything run smoothly.
And there's a big list. There's a big list of your colleagues that have no problem volunteering, have no problem stepping up and taking more responsibility, even though they're trying to run their businesses and take care of their families, whatever. They're all ready to jump on whatever help the organization needs.
Absolutely.
From what I can see anyway.
No, it's absolutely true. And a lot of them do it out of their own pocket. They get no compensation, they get no room comps, they get no symposium comps. They pay just like everyone else does, and they go there to help volunteer as much as possible.
Terrific. That's a
and it's a
I think
village.
But it's a community of people that in my opinion probably set a lot of the trends in our industry and are the creative minds of what the next new thing's going to be. And together, they do it together. I think that's really cool. And I guess that's why companies like our company and the other companies that were there in support are seeing the value of that. They might not specifically go there to sponsor just so they can make a sale. They're sponsoring so they can continue the momentum of the business and to continue
it's how we give back. It's how we were able to give back as a company, right? Because we don't make end pieces. I mean, Olga does, we have designers here, but I mean, that's not our job. Us as a job, how do we give back is by supporting the associations that are strictly just supporting growth, education, and moving trends on in the industry.
Yeah, but I'm saying is I feel like supply companies, so whether hard goods, fresh, whatever, from what I'm observing, they're getting more and more behind it. Yeah, and I think that's really good for the big picture for everyone to get behind it, because it used to kind of be like more of a private club, I think, and it's opening up.
Yeah, and again, like I said, back when I, was a business owner prior to me achieving my AIFD, you would hear things like that. You would hear like private club, it's very niche-y. But once you really get involved and you really get to know the people, there may be a handful of people, that we have nearly 2,000 accredited members, AIFD
2,000.
members.
Wow.
Across the world. I believe we have about 1,500 in the States and about 500 international.
How much does that grow every year about, Ralph?
So every year we have approximately 100 students that test for PFDE, which is their professional floral design evaluation. It's the hands-on test that you need to take in order to become AIFD. And it really depends on the year. Some years we've got a 50% pass rate. Some years we've got a 30% pass rate. Some years we've had a 70% pass rate. So you're looking at approximately 50 people on average every year that join into the AIFD family.
Wow.
Now, if you don't know the process, once they take that PFDE, they have to first take an online test. You have to pass that with I believe it's 85% or higher. Then you achieve your CFD, your Certified Floral Designer. Then you take the PFDE, which is hosted at Symposium every year. It's the only place you can do it. And then you wait a few weeks, get your scores. Now, if you've achieved AIFD, you have to wait an entire year till the next symposium before you get pinned and can use your accreditation. So it is definitely a commitment to becoming and maintaining your accreditations through any association, but particularly AIFD.
And how long does it take after you take the test to find out if you passed or not?
Well, we technology finally caught up to us, which is a good thing. So this year and the last couple of years, everything has been done on tablets. So inevitably, by the end of the day, they know, the powers that be know who passed and who failed. There is a small gray area where they'll go back in and recheck some photos and recheck a few things if somebody's right on the cuff of passing or failing. So that takes a little bit more time because they got to go back in and do some research. And then they sort through all the data and typically send off an email within 2 to 3 weeks. When I tested, it was more like 6 weeks. Prior to that, it was more like 3 months.
Did you have anxiety for 6 weeks?
I did have heavy anxiety.
Let me ask you a question, because so you're saying that if someone was testing and they were like, according to the score sheet, they were on the bubble, whether they were going to pass or not, there's another group that will go and examine the pictures and see where those decisions were made and then agree or disagree?
Yeah, there's actually 3 levels. So you have your CEJs, your certified evaluator judges that are there doing all the scoring. Then if there is a little bit of a discrepancy, then you have the committee chairs that are overseeing the PFDE. They'll go in, talk to the CEJs, ask them to explain why they're scoring something a certain way. If it can't be explained and accepted under the reasoning on why they scored the way they scored, then the executive board, the management team, comes in, and at that point it's usually looking at photos because it's usually the next day. They'll go over every single arrangement of photos are taken, and they're taken of multiple angles. So the team, the executive board, can go in, zoom in, look at those pictures, and look at the scores and approve or increase or even possibly decrease, but it's usually more of an increase of points to get them to achieve that AIFD accreditation.
That's awesome. They might have to sift through thousands of pictures.
It is. If you think about it, there's 100 people, and there's 5 designs, so that's 500 designs, and even if you just take 2 shots of each one, that's 1,000 images.
Jeez.
Wow.
Pass.
Wow.
Okay, now you know. Don't let Jimmy judge.
Y'all can judge me when I test.
We had Dennis Kelly. Renee Tucci recommended him. He's a designer from Pennsylvania. He helped us do our setup at the show with Olga. And he tested this year. He was one of the ones that tested this year. And he was just he had finished a test, and then he came over and was helping us design, and he was telling us all about it. And everybody's designs was in the next room over, but it was like locked away and you couldn't go in there. But like he was just saying how much the anticipation and the
anxiety,
just the anxiety of it being in there, and they're in there judging right now. And it's
I was listening to a conversation of 3 people who had just taken their test, and all 3 of them were like, man, I should have done this, or I should have done this a little differently, or I shouldn't have walked away with this, or everyone feels like, oh, I didn't do good enough, or I didn't, and everybody put their heart into it. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy that they gotta wait to get an answer, because that would drive me absolute bonkers.
I would definitely agree with you. I think the majority of the people that test for their PFDE all leave the room thinking they passed. I think crazy. they second guess themselves a lot. At PFDE, it is, and why we're called CEJs, Certified Evaluators and Judges. At the PFDE, it is not a competition. You are not competing against the table next to you. You're competing with yourself. You're being evaluated on your own design skills. So it doesn't matter if the table next to yours, if you think looks better than yours. It all matters on if you achieved all your principles and elements and achieved all the proper scoring that is required to achieve your AIFD.
What's needed to become the evaluator?
To become an evaluator, you have to take a couple of classes. You have to take some online classes. You got to take some hands-on classes, and then in order to maintain your CEJ, you have to recertify every 3 years. Mine's coming up next year.
Wow!
So by recertifying, you got to go through the whole course. The hands-on, the computer, everything?
It's mostly on the computer aspect of it, because they anticipate, they see you do your evaluations in person. Like I evaluated for Florida State. So, I got to use the software there. So, all of it's record, all of it's kept in record. So, if the CEJ team wants to go back and look at my scores from FSMD, they have the right to do that, to see how good of an evaluator I am. And then obviously at AIFD, obviously they're privy to all of those scores. So the thought process is that once you achieve your CEJ, that you're going to utilize that accreditation in the industry, evaluate and judge whatever competitions on a local and state level or national level, to maintain your knowledge. And then you have to prove you've maintained that knowledge every 3 years.
Damn.
Wow. And these online courses are pre-recorded and produced by the AIFD?
Yes, they are.
Organization?
Yes. Yeah, those accreditation courses are all done online, in that aspect of it prior to the hands-on class. And they're all approved by AIFD. They're all put together by AIFD. The AIFD is in the midst right now of working on some new educational videos that will be available on the website in the near future. Some of them may be pay classes, some of them may be free. But we recognize the need for technology. We recognize the need for more education in our industry, and we recognize that we've got to be the leader in doing that.
Awesome.
Great.
So Ralph, talk to us. There was what do you got coming up? You got something new going on. Give us a little insight.
Sure. So we recently did a fundraising event and combined open house here at the shop. And it was, in the short, it was designed to raise money for animals and cats in particular. Kimberly is actually the one that spearheaded that. That was her brainchild. So I'll let Kim ramble off a little bit of information about it since she knows more about it.
Okay.
Not to put you on the spot, Kim, but
yeah, no questions, just whatever. I work for a nonprofit that called Operation Catsnip, located here on the Treasure Coast, and they do TNVRs for feral cats, which controls the cat population through spay and neutering them. This is not like a placement program. We trap cats.
Catsnip is a perfect name.
Yeah, Operation Catsnip. We trap cats, and then we have them fixed, shotted, and with our immunizations. and vaccines, and microchips, and then we release them back into their colonies. If we do find litters of kittens, we do take them on and spay, neuter them, and give them their immunizations, and then we adopt them out. That's part of the revenue that the Catsnip receives, but it's very difficult because an organization like Catsnip is very understated because they're not in the limelight. Like the Humane Society is always out there. They help all the animals. Little organizations like Catsnip operate in the background and do so much for these animals, but they just get overlooked sometimes. So I chose to try to raise money for them to give them a little leg up. It was their first official, really large event that they've ever had. So we raised pretty much close to $2,000, which was excellent. We got the word out. Awareness is key with these things, making people aware that Operation Catsnip exists, making people aware of what their mission is and how they're trying to help the cat population, because everybody gets annoyed. Oh, there's so many stray cats, well, let's spay and neuter our animals. And even the ones that we don't own, we have the means to get free help for them. So that's just kind of where my heart is at with them. They did help me. I have a couple of cats from them, obviously. I am a cat person. So that's about that. We had a really good time. We had inside the shop, our open house, we had a flower bar. People could come in and they could design their own flower bouquet. And then part of the proceeds from that went to Catsnip. And then we had raffles, which the community came together and donated. And then we had a few vendors here just for attention. And then, my pirate friends were here taking pictures. And yeah, I'm really big in the pirate community too.
Did you take a picture with the pirates,
no,
Jimmy?
I didn't.
Is there a picture of Jimmy with the pirate?
No.
I mean, there's a picture of Jimmy with me and Ralph, and I was kind of like
she was dressed up as
a cat pirate.
That's
Did
awesome.
Jimmy go meow? Is Jimmy running around meow?
Oh, that's my job. I was the cat. But
Harley
it was a lot
freaking
of
out with the
fun.
pirates.
Oh yes, your dog definitely was freaking out with fires.
This dog freaks out with anything.
I was gonna
Shit.
say, yeah.
There's a lot of noise involved. There's a lot of jingle jangle and metal objects and stuff. There's big, boisterous kind of costumes, or we don't like to call them costumes. They're specifically garb. They're a pirate garb. So, because it's part of our life. We don't go to the store and buy a costume and put it on. We spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on this stuff, and it's part of our wardrobe.
Is there like a pirate club out there, or you guys?
Yep, there's multiple pirate crews that some of them are that we represent.
Our matey.
Yeah, there's the Brethren of the Space Coast, 10 Rapscallions, the Red Diamond crew, the Black Rose crew, and then there's the Leviathan.
I like the Black Rose crew.
I'm
feeling that. I'm feeling that, Ryan. Black Rose crew.
Together, what we like to do, when we gather, we like to make the gatherings for something. Like we have a pirate mystery dinner coming up, which we're raising money for a senior dog rescue called Touch of Grey, located out of Melbourne. So we don't just hang out and party for nothing.
What
we
would
pillage
be
and plunder for a reason.
Great game? What would be a great game at a pirate party is to walk like Jack from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, there's always a Jack Sparrow at these events. Some people play.
Is he looked down on that Jack Sparrow?
No, not really. We just try not to have more than one Jack Sparrow. We
already have a Jack Sparrow. You got to go home.
Just have a Jack Sparrow fight off. Let's get them to fight each other.
Jack Sparrow.
So, but we have a good time together. It's when we roll out, we roll in groups. So we are a little bit like a biker gang. Just We raise money for.
I got the beard already. I might.
I was gonna. Yeah, you're a fit.
Right
Yeah, we could dress you up very easily, Jimmy. You let me know when you're ready.
Jimmy would love to be dressed
Even
up.
your dog. We could put a costume on your dog too.
Do you guys do Gasparilla? That's what it's called, right?
Gasparilla is one of the main Pirates events in
How do you know
anywhere.
about this, Ryan?
Everybody knows about it.
The Leviathan, which is the kind of the nationwide crew that they pretty much run that whole area over there. Even though there are smaller crews, the Leviathan is the main crew that runs that.
Has there ever been like pirate fights? Like, do they get drunk and I had too much meat and that crew's going down tonight?
I mean, for the most, I'm not going to say no, but for the most part, we're all friends. We're all here for a good cause, not just, just hanging out and drinking, even though that's really what we love to do.
Does somebody have a ship? Is there a ship?
Actually, there is. Every crew is different, but we do. One of our members has a tiny ship that he pulls behind, and he has a wonderful parrot named Kosh, and he represents us really, really greatly.
That's awesome.
Ralph, are you a pirate, Ralph?
No,
Ralphie.
I am absolutely not a costume dress up type of person. There's been a handful of times.
Garb. It's garb.
Yeah.
Garb.
Respect the pirates.
Do the pirates go to the Renaissance thing?
We do. We absolutely do.
Okay.
This is one of the main places we get our garb from. One of the reasons we spend so much money on it.
It's like going shopping. Yeah, those places aren't cheap.
There's a different week every week at the Renaissance.
It's a different theme every week, right?
Yeah.
Vikings, Celtic, fairies, fantasy, pirates, actually Renaissance.
Tell us about the fairy one. There's a fairy one.
So fae, they're called fae, and the world of the fae is huge. You can be anything from fairies to gnomes to trolls to goblins. So fae is more like a fantasy that you would find.
That sounds like fun.
It is fun, and there's some
Jimmy
really
wants
amazing.
to be a goblin.
I could be a gnome too.
That sounds more smoking than drinking to me.
Listen, when the Renaissance Fair comes to Deerfield, okay, we can all meet in the middle and have an adventure one day.
That's the one I've been to a couple of times.
Yeah,
I've been to the Renaissance Fair.
It's fun, man. It's a lot of fun.
All I did was drink, and I bought my girlfriend. I bought her a corset that cost me a fortain. Fantastic, but she looked great in it.
20 of those corsets.
She looked absolutely great in it. I was like, "Hello, friends," but I was all for it.
And most of the time, we bring our own liquor because we're pirates. That's what we do.
I like that.
So,
Ralph, are you a cat person or a dog person?
I am a animal lover, but I am a dog person. We have 5 dogs at home currently, 3 little Chihuahuas, a retired service dog, and an active service dog.
The Chihuahuas are a terrorist.
They are. They definitely bark when a flea farts.
So is this like a new thing for the shop now? You're going to start integrating more of these social dog events and pet-friendly events?
We definitely feel yes.
I would like to do that.
Yeah. Well, I assume this first one was successful.
Are you allowed? Do you bring animals to the office? Cats and dogs?
We do have a lot of us have animals, and they do spend a lot of time here. My daughter's service dog spends a lot of time here, and every member here pretty much has a pet in some way, shape, or form, and sometimes they do make an appearance.
Is there a shop cat?
There is not a shop cat.
Do you see?
But there are
There
some
should
strays.
be a shop cat.
There's going to be a little side meeting.
It's a mixture. It's a mixture because
they're going to have like a little
Listen,
side
this has
meeting.
been a conversation for years.
The cats will fuck with the flowers, and they'll knock vases over. Like
Exactly.
I can just see the cat just staring right at you, saying,
Like,
"Ha ha! Here's your vase."
just push the vase off the table.
Yeah.
Finished design.
Yeah, we do have a couple strays in the area that know where the food is, and know where the treats are, and they know what time to come around. So
One of them
we've
knew
got
where my
outside
house
cat.
was and hasn't left.
Oh, wow.
The strays from the flower shop. Yeah.
Yeah, followed her home one day.
we have some questions that we got answered, right, Ryan? We have
our weekly question. Our weekly question from last week with Charlie Hall was answered on Instagram and Facebook. Fern, if you want to read off some of those answers, which the question was, on average, how many hours do you work per week? Just because we were talking about that in the last episode, so it was very.
I saw that a lot of people wanted to comment on that. Because
there was a good amount of comments. Yeah,
I think a fair amount of flower people work a whole lot of hours.
No, that was the only reason we wanted to see.
And they want to talk about that.
Some people were really detailed. Look, like we'll start off. Green Park Nurseries. Carl dove in.
We know he works.
Summer growing season, 40 to 50 hours a week. Shipping season, 60 plus. 3 months out of the year during peak harvest and shipping, 80 plus. This is all 6-day work weeks. We haven't worked a Sunday in over 45 years. All-time record, 106 hours. 1 week, life of a grower. Damn.
Yeah, I was going to say, a home grower is the outlier. We're not really looking for that answer.
And that's not just Carl. That's the whole family.
Yeah, that's every
crazy.
Home grower, I'm sure.
House of Flora Flower. Non-holiday clocked hours, usually 45 to 52, not including travel time while ordering or stressed out about everything coming together. Holiday 60 to 70, not including sleepless nights stressing about everything coming together. House of Bernal.
Wouldn't that be about average for a florist, a retail florist?
How many?
It's depending on the region, I suppose.
60 to 80 on a holiday and 40 to 50 on a regular week. Or is that low?
So no, it's about average for the industry. If you're better prepared, then you have more consistent, roughly 50-hour weeks, right? Probably 2 of them back to back versus having a 40 and then an 80-hour week.
Yeah, my 80-hour weeks were done years ago because I can't handle that anymore. But we've all put our time in, in my life, I've worked 100-hour weeks, as a lifer in this industry. I think we've all been there.
Yeah,
that's where the conversation came from. That whole question stemmed from that whole conversation of this industry almost requires you to put more hours in order to be successful. It feels like that way. But the question for this week
I got more answers. You cut me off here. We got Jimmy the Tulip with 50 to 60 on a slow week. Funny guy.
That's bullshit. That's not true.
No, he's more.
I sent out emails on a Sunday at 8 a.m. Jimmy answers. I sent out an email on a Sunday at 9 p.m. Jimmy answers. Jimmy's working 24/7.
I sent him an email. It was like midnight, and I said, "Hey, remind me in the morning to talk about this."
Well, I think he does that on purpose.
2 minutes later, 2 minutes later at midnight, this guy sends me a message back. Okay. It's like, what are you doing, dude?
But as the owner, I feel guilty that he's answering me.
Exactly.
I'm like,
I stopped.
Why is he answering?
I won't
Take off.
I won't send them an email after hours anymore. I just send myself.
You could program your email. You could program your email to auto send at like 8 a.m. so you don't feel so bad.
Yeah.
Do me a favor. Tell my administrative assistant how to do it.
Yeah.
Hire an administrative assistant. We told you that many times. Just get one. You should have one. We can get you one in India.
We're talking about these things. These things could be a reality. Aaron Davids. Aaron, 45 to 60. That's a good average for a florist. She's busy.
Yeah.
They're busy florists.
She's in marketing. She's always on her phone, I'm sure, for work.
Uncle Freddie Ariyamas, 84.
Yeah, that's about right.
He's got a specific number.
Is he saying his age or how many hours?
And but if he works less, he feels guilty.
He does. Yeah. He does.
He won't work less.
He feels no one can do the job. It's only him.
No one will do it. Let me tell you, he's got big shoes to fill.
Yeah, he does.
He's got the quality. He's got the kind of eye, Ralph. He's in Staten Island. He's the garden center king of Staten Island. They stand in line for an hour just to get what they need from him sometimes. And let me tell you, he's got the eye. He travels, really he drives everywhere, he goes everywhere, and he goes to the greenhouses, and he ropes off entire sections. That's for me. And he puts tags on stuff so no one else will sell his shit. That's mine. Smart. No one else can sell it.
He's smart, man. He's a hustler. Yeah. I love that, man. Halls Theodore says 50 to 55. He's a wholesaler. That's a good average for a wholesaler.
So this week's question is, what is the scar or bad memory that one job left you with?
Ooh.
So that could be a physical scar, it could be an emotional scar, it could be a bad memory, it could be a trauma moment, But everybody's got a horror story from a job, whether that's a physical, like setting up a wedding, or that's just a time and a company as a whole.
Oh man, I got stories.
So make sure you guys go and
Ralph, how many hours
Yes,
are
sir.
you working per week with all the different jobs you do? Be real. I gotta know.
Yeah, it's definitely probably pushing 70, 80 hours a week between, my responsibility for the business, whether it's a little bit of office work at home or pre-planning for a future event at home, and then the Zoom meetings that I have fairly regularly during the week. And yeah, so by the time I put all that together, it's probably a good 70, 80 hours.
Ralph is a numbers man. If some of these Facebook posts, he'll break down like how much you should be earning and spending and what your cost of goods should be. Ralph is a numbers guy.
Well,
What I like about Ralph is he's not afraid to share his tricks to the trade. Things that he's learned by trial and error. He's saving other people the headache about, taking risk. He's saying, okay, and some of the stuff like is really out of the box what he does. Like people are like, no way, you're crazy. You shouldn't do that. But really he's doing things that are helping him buy better and help him give his customers better quality at the same time.
Absolutely. It's
from what I've seen.
No. Yeah, definitely. It's exactly that, is that, I've been there, I've done it, I've failed, and I've succeeded. So why make a new florist or someone that's been in the industry for a long time who's still struggling to make ends meet or to struggle with their processes? Why have them go through the same, failures that I had to go through when I can simply give them the tools they need to be successful from the start? Then they can tweak it to make it their own. I'm not saying that my way is the only way, but it definitely gives someone who has no knowledge a good starting point, and then it gives the people that have knowledge a chance to think of something different that they haven't thought of before.
Love that. Ralph, now you got to give
Ralph, when I used to make bouquets in New York,
maybe not.
The flower food was really expensive, and I was friends with a guy who had a Coca-Cola route. Coca-Cola doesn't have guys with routes anymore, but I used to buy off of him the expired Sprite. And I used to use the expired Sprite as my flower food.
The sugar.
That would hydrate my flowers, because I used to put flowers in water in mass quantity.
Sure.
And I used to use expired Sprite. People used to say you're crazy.
Yeah, so it really
but it actually worked.
It came down to the sugars.
Yeah.
At that point in a flower's lifespan, it's looking for that nutrients, it's looking for that sugar to develop.
That citric acid.
Yep. Today's technology, today's chemicals are very, very fine-tuned in what their approach is and what they do, heavily in killing a bacteria, which is the number one cause for a flower to die prematurely. So once they get that bacteria out of the equation, then it's all about the proper nutrients at the proper time to give that botanical its fullest lifespan.
Look at the science. Ralph still finds time for everything.
He's got a whole YouTube video on that.
Mimi just sat up in her chair, wherever she is. She's listening. She just sat up in her chair.
She's like, I feel like I should be part of something right now.
Go Mimi.
Oh man.
Yeah, like Jimmy said, I actually did my my PFCI audition tape solely on processing for profitability. And I talked about all the different steps of processing, different use of chemicals, primarily Floral Life brand chemicals, which is what I use, and then talk to them about a good benchmark on numbers. So it's kind of a little bit of an all-in-one for people that are either new to the industry, like I said before, or someone who's been around who needs a few new ideas.
How long was your tape? Just curious for a guy who might think about getting some letters.
Sure. So there is a requirement for PFCI, and it has to run at, currently the requirement is a minimum of 15 minutes, maximum of 30 minutes, I believe.
Oh, okay. I can talk for way longer than that. Okay.
Yeah, so you gotta,
especially if he's medicated.
Yeah. So it's a little more than just the actual speaking. It's your mannerism, it's your presentation. So there's a list of things.
A professional Fern is there. He's ready.
Yes.
I got sport coats and everything.
We're gonna go over the top. We're gonna do a monocle. We're gonna go like extra professional.
He's gonna put an ascot on.
I'm all in. Whoa. Settle down, Jimmy.
Ascot.
Settle down. I know.
All right, let's get to the questions because Ralph has his meeting.
Yes, we got rapid questions. Ralph's leaving us. Ralph and Kim, both of you answer. We want to hear.
But Kim's got to answer pirate answers.
Yeah. Yeah. Answer as a pirate. Good answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, both of you, what is your favorite flower?
Mine is calla lily.
Rose.
I'm sitting here thinking how to answer it like a pirate, but I'm not. I'm super simple. I like the rose because it comes in so many fashions and so many different varieties, and I just really like the rose. That or a frangipani, plumeria flower.
Nice. What's the best sandwich?
I don't know.
The one you put in your mouth.
Into it.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Italians. I think we tend to lean a little bit towards more of an Italian style sub. So chicken parm, eggplant parm, sausage and peppers,
chicken cutlet all day.
Yeah.
I like a cold roast beef with Swiss cheese and some deli mustard.
Nice.
I'm into it. What is the most underrated flower?
Carnation. Dianthus.
I was gonna say that.
What's the most overrated flower?
Lily.
Gloriosas. Something that's got a very, very magnolia bloom, gardenia, something that's got a very, very, very short lifespan. That's really only good for day of installations.
What is the scariest animal?
For me, it's spiders and snakes. I don't know if you call them animals or insects or reptiles, but
so just keep them
spiders
away.
And snakes.
Just keep them away.
Keep them away.
I'm not a bird fan. I don't like birds.
There's people that are afraid of birds.
Yeah.
That's real deal.
They're really
That's
not birds. They're robots that the government put out there and they charge on the power line.
I had a bad experience, and he tried to take my thumb off. So since then, it's not a fan.
Me and Ryan were walking out of the new place the other day, and this bird attacked us. Remember, Ryan?
Casey thinks that was a bad omen.
Yeah.
It's the bird. It's the bird that was attacking.
The place
Jet.
has been empty so long. It's the bird's territory.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, what is your go-to way to relax?
TV.
Yeah, both of us. TV, movies.
Okay,
Yep.
That's the next question then. What, if you could pick a TV or movie character to have lunch with, who would it be?
Deadpool.
Oh, shit. Great answer.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, Deadpool's pretty good.
You didn't say a pirate. I'm very disappointed.
In Deadpool.
I might have to default to like some of my childhood ones that, those childhood crushes like Alyssa Milano. Somebody like that, if I had a celebrity hall pass, that would be one of those ones on the top of the list.
He's got a list. He's ready.
We're changing the question.
Do you get a celebrity hall pass? Who would it be? That's a great question. Ryan.
We're going to get people in trouble.
Add that in there. I like that question.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's what we're doing next.
All right, no more lunch dates. Now
we had Daenerys Targaryen in the cash and carry yesterday. I saw her on the camera. I called everyone.
Too funny.
Mother of Dragons.
That's right.
Yeah.
What kind of flowers do you guys want at your funeral?
Never really thought of that. I guess again, falling back to the roots, the Italians, bigger is always better. That's pretty much how we design here, especially on our sympathy work, is you give them as most as we possibly can for the money. So I think that I would like, kind of in a traditional Italian service with a little bit of a modern flair.
Kim's getting a pirate funeral, right? The pirate funeral?
Yeah, so I want like a tropical flair, but I like
Viking.
I like
The
foraging.
Viking, yeah, they shoot a bow and arrow.
Go out in the yard and see what you could forage and put that together. That's what I want, But, greenery, any kind of stuff like that from, a deserted island.
Nice.
Palm fronds.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Superpower. Wow. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I can tell you that again, if I fall back to as a kid, a lot of the you guys that know me, if you've ever eaten with me, I have a weird condition where I have my right eyelid is connected to my jaw. So when I chew, my eyelid actually blinks. So I don't really chew gum out in public. But with that being said, when I was a kid, to counteract that was my bionic eye.
Very cool.
The bionic man.
I think that I would probably want regeneration.
That's a good one too.
Oh.
I like it. 2 more questions. What is your go-to drunk food?
Gin mill burgers.
Something greasy. Yep.
We have this corner bar that I go to, and they have like the best burger on a pretzel bun with onions and pickles and waffle fries, and it's the best shit you'll ever put in your mouth when you're drunk. Not that I would know.
So many comments I'm gonna hold here.
Yeah.
What's the last question, Ryan? Hurry up. This is deteriorating. I'm getting bad over here.
The last one is, could you suggest a future guest for the show? For the podcast.
That's a good question. You guys have pretty much hit the entire realm of stuff. Have you had yet the AIFD president come on board?
Lori Novak?
Well, the current president, we just had Teresa that just left office. So our current president is Lori Lemick. She would definitely be a firecracker to have on, and she's got a great point of view, and we're looking forward to having her for our president this year.
Awesome.
We know her. I've heard the name more than once. We know her.
So could you send us? We're gonna ask that you send us your address. I mean, I'm sure we have it. We can send it to the shop. You're always there, but if you could
for your podcast gift.
Yeah, for your podcast gift, email us her email address, and we'll reach out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And get around.
Jimmy, put the package in the box. The big order that Ralph's going to give you this week.
Well, no, he already texted me. He's got nothing next week.
What do you mean you got nothing? Come on,
he's out of town.
Yeah, he likes us to starve for flowers when he's out of town.
Don't worry, you call Kim.
I'm gonna call Kim.
Call Kim and talk pirate
blame
to
it
her.
on Kim.
Talk pirate to her.
What do you mean? Kim told me to send these 20 boxes.
How about
I know, right?
roses? All right. Ralph, if someone wants to get in contact with you, they want to reach out, they want to talk about dogs versus cats, pirates versus Vikings, or they simply want to, know where to get started to maybe get some letters of their own, how can they reach out to you?
So all my social media are totally open to the public. So DM me is probably the easiest way to find me on social media. You can always reach out and call the store. If I'm here, if not, they'll get me a message. So I'm available at any time. I love answering people's questions, love to help them out of a jam, give them a little point of view or a little pointer.
What's your Instagram?
R_Giordano.
R_Giordano's. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Thank you for listening to another episode of Two Fat Guys Talking Flowers, where we're always going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly, well, not so much ugly, about flowers. Myself, Fern, Joel, Jimmy, Mike, Ryan, Ralph, and Kim, thank you for joining us. Ralph, I'm not even going to say all the letters. Owner of Giordano's, thank you so much, sir. Have a great one, man.